Now, recently we had a couple of people who rushed onto our stage at the RNC. Now, normally I don't want to talk about them. That's all they want. They're human trolls, and they're just looking for attention. It doesn't matter what kind of attention they get. But in this case, I've got to bring this story back up because one of them, Roger Stone, has done something so deplorable that it's hard not to talk about it. Now, when he rushed our stage just a week ago at the RNC, I said that he was a hatchet man. You could see me in the video saying that, and that he's a notorious liar. Well, here he is. He's done it again. So what's Roger Stone doing now? He's attacking Khizr Khan, the father of Captain Khan, who was killed in Iraq, and trying to smear him as part of the Muslim Brotherhood. I told you he was a hatchet man. So he sends out this tweet. It says, Mr. Khan, more than a aggrieved father of a Muslim son, he's Muslim Brotherhood agent helping Hillary. See, but this is what hatchet men do. They put out outrageous lies. But they think, now, am I going to convince any Democrats of that? Of course not. Am I going to convince any legitimate person in the media of that? Of course not. I don't need that. I just need to muddy the waters. And I need to stoke up the bigotry that helps our side. So the hardcore bigots are with me and with Donald Trump. They're going to vote for us. Congratulations, Roger Stone. You must be so proud. So he's like, but if I can get some of the independents to go, I don't know, I heard somewhere that he wasn't a hero, that he was actually a part of the enemy, instead of the guy who actually has a son who died fighting for the United States of America, blown up by a suicide bomber in Iraq. I just got to muddy the waters. That's his job. His job is to lie for a living. He links back to an article written by a couple of dingbats, almost literally, Walid Shoebat and his son Theodore Shoebat, which I'll get to in a second. And in that article, they say Khan is a Muslim plant working with the Hillary Clinton campaign, probably for the interest of Muslim oil companies as well as the Muslim immigration into the U.S. And then they have 1,000 insane conspiracy theories and no facts, of course, whatsoever. Their idea of a fact is like, Khizr Khan was once in Saudi Arabia. No, not. What does that mean? That doesn't mean anything. And then they'll throw in Hillary Clinton's top advisor, Huma Abedin, her name in gratuitously. What's her connection to Khizr Khan? None. And then they'll throw in a bunch of Muslim names and be like, aha, Muslim names, hence Muslim Brotherhood, hence bad guy. Okay. So when you see something like this, the reason I'm doing this, and this is the last piece of attention I want to give to this really, really bad actor, is for a couple reasons. If you see a meme or you hear something that doesn't sound quite right, it's probably because it isn't right. I'm just asking you to do just a tiny bit more research into it. Whatever you do, don't believe things that, like Roger Stone say, people like Roger Stone say, because their job is to lie. He is a professional liar. He's a professional hatchet man. He's supposed to smear people. And by the way, the fact that Donald Trump associates with it. Now, he was working with this campaign, and now the campaign has distanced themselves from him. But all of a sudden, he shows up on our set and says, we know what you've been saying on air. He goes and attacks Khizr Khan, who Donald Trump is having a beef with. Doesn't seem like they have completely disassociated themselves. I mean, you already know what a horrible person Donald Trump is. You can tell it in his reaction to Khizr Khan. But the fact that he would have guys like Roger Stone around and not denounce him and stop him from doing things like this tells you all you need to know about Donald Trump. I mean, you want to talk about trolls. Yes, Roger Stone's a troll. But you know, in a lot of ways, Donald J. Troll is the king of all trolls. He got here by trolling all of us, by gathering attention, bad or good. So now, I just want to come back to this insane article written by these guys. I don't want to get too much more into it, because I don't want to help in muddying the waters. That's why I hesitate in even talking about guys like this. But I wanted to show you what the modus operandi here is. So who is Walid Shoebat? Well, like a lot of the conservative guys, they find different ethnic groups. They'll find black people to criticize other black people. They will find Latinos to criticize Latinos, women to criticize women, etc. You've seen that on Fox News endlessly. And they found this Walid Shoebat guy with a story that is preposterous and no sane person would believe, but the right wing eats it up. So to give you a sense of who this guy is, Shoebat, who Stone is referring to, take a look at this video here.
My name is Walid Shoebat. I was born as a Muslim who desired the destruction of God's people. In trying to disprove the God of the Bible, I actually found him. Now I have dedicated my life to revealing the truth about Islam through books, radio, television, and the internet. My turning point from being a Muslim terrorist began the day I spent the best $10 of my life to purchase a Bible.
Yeah, this guy's a terrorist, but we decided not to arrest him because he found a copy of the Bible and now he's a good Christian. Who believes this nonsense? Unfortunately, a lot of right-wingers. So there's a couple of these dingbats that run around who go, oh yeah, I was a vicious terrorist. I used to blow people up all the time. Really? Then maybe we should seek the death penalty against you. No, yeah, but that's all in the past. Now I'm a good Christian. And you know us, the blacks, the Latinos, the Muslims, we're all savages until we find the Bible. Oh, the right wing eats that up. Oh, Walid Ding Shoebat. Oh, we love it. And then Roger Stone links to it, and then you see it on Facebook somewhere, and you go, I don't know, I heard that he was Muslim Brotherhood, Khizr Khan, because there was a bunch of Muslim names next to him, and he once went to Saudi Arabia. Don't believe the hype. So he'll throw a lot of crap out there, and I want to say one last thing. The first part was to you guys in the audience. The second part is to the media. So I want to be done with this guy, and in order for us to be done with him, the rest of the media has to be done with him. He should have zero credibility. Don't ever quote this guy as a he said, she said. It's not 50-50. You don't even give credence to his wild, outrageous behavior. I hope this is the last time we ever air anything, any smear that he's talking about. You have to treat him like a streaker. You know, in a baseball game, every once in a while somebody is streaking, they turn the cameras away. If you turn the cameras towards him, it encourages his outrageous behavior. Don't do that. Turn the cameras away. So hopefully this will be the last time we cover this notorious, clear, proven liar, Roger Stone.